Jamal wore his best navy blue suit, custom tailored for nights like this. He moved with confidence, but it wasn't the kind born of arrogance. It was the calm assurance of a man who had earned his seat at the table. But to the eyes that followed him, mostly white, mostly wealthy, he looked like a stain on an otherwise spotless evening. It was subtle. At first, a slight pause in conversation. A few glances that lingered too long. A couple by the window shifted in their seats as he passed by, as though his presence had changed the flavor of their wine. He noticed it all, but he didn't flinch. This was his night. After 3 years of back-breaking freelance work, nights without sleep, days filled with rejections, Jamal had finally inked a deal with a private firm that would change his life. 6 figures. Full benefits. Creative control. He wasn't just invited to the table, he built the damn thing. So when he chose La Belle Maison to celebrate, it wasn't for the luxury. It was to remind himself that he belonged anywhere he wanted to be. That's when he showed up. Chet, or Chase, or whatever name went with that perfect blonde comb-over and arrogant half-smile. The waiter walked like he owned the place. But when his eyes landed on Jamal, something shifted. The smirk disappeared. His brows lowered. And before he even opened his mouth, Jamal knew. This wasn't just going to be dinner. This was going to be something else. "Can I help you?" the waiter asked, voice sharp enough to slice steak. No good evening. No welcome. Just suspicion wrapped in silk. Jamal stayed calm. Reservation for Taylor. 8 o'clock. Chad's jaw tensed. Right. Taylor. He tapped on his tablet like he didn't believe it, then finally waved a hand, half-heartedly, to follow. They passed a dozen empty tables. Prime spots near the window. But Chad led Jamal to the far back corner, just beside the kitchen doors, where the smell of grease floated in every few minutes. Jamal raised an eyebrow. "This the only seat you've got?" Chad didn't even look at him. "This is what we have available, sir." The word "sir" came out like an insult. Jamal sat down slowly, adjusting his cuff. He didn't want a scene, but he didn't forget either. He ordered a ribeye, medium rare, glass of red, just enough to settle his nerves. But Chad was slow, slower than he was with the other tables. Those ones got smiles, jokes, little nods of charm. Jamal got silence and a glare like he'd stolen something. Then came the moment that shifted everything. Jamal was scrolling through congratulatory messages on his phone when Chad returned, with a bottle of 2015 Bordeaux. He didn't say a word, just leaned in, tilted the bottle, and poured. But not into the glass. The stream of red wine splashed across Jamal's chest like blood. It soaked into the lapel, dripping down onto his white shirt like a wound. A perfectly aimed pour, just off center. Just enough to seem like an accident. But it wasn't. Chad froze for half a second. Then a smirk. "Oh, my bad," he muttered. "Bit clumsy tonight." Jamal stood up. The room had gone quiet. Eyes locked on him, but no one moved. He looked down at the stain, back up at Chad. "You did that on purpose." Chad shrugged. "Why would I do that, sir?" And there it was again, that word. Drenched in mockery this time. Before Jamal could respond, the manager arrived. A thin man in a tailored vest, eyes darting between them. "Is there a problem?" Jamal pointed at his suit. "Your waiter just poured a glass of wine all over me." The manager glanced at Chad, who gave an Oscar-worthy shrug, and then at Jamal. "I'm sure it was an accident," he said, already brushing it off. "We'll comp your meal." But Jamal wasn't hungry anymore. He wasn't angry. Not yet. Not the kind that explodes. It was something deeper. Slower. A quiet storm building inside him. Because this wasn't just about wine or a suit. This was about how people like Chad in places like this expected people like him to stay quiet, smile, and swallow the insult. Again and again. But not tonight. Jamal looked the manager dead in the eye. "Keep your comp. I'll handle it myself." He walked out, wine dripping down his chest like war paint. This wasn't over. Jamal didn't drive straight home that night. He sat in his car across the street from La Belle Maison for nearly 20 minutes, watching through the frosted windows as wealthy couples laughed over creme brulee, completely untouched by what had just happened. His chest was still damp. The red wine had already set into the fabric, ruining the one suit he'd saved months to afford. But the stain wasn't what burned, it was the smirk. The look on Chad's face. Like he had won something. Jamal hadn't even raised his voice. He didn't cause a scene. He knew how it would play out if he had. The angry black man stereotype. Security. Police. Maybe worse. That was the game. And Chad knew the rules. But what Chad didn't know was that Jamal wasn't just some guy trying to climb the ladder. Jamal built his own. He wasn't going to fight fire with fire. He was going to burn the whole system down, quietly. The next morning, Jamal woke up early. He didn't post about it. Didn't rant on social media. Instead, he dug. He looked up everything he could find about the restaurant. Ownership, investors, employee reviews, even the wine supplier. He wasn't sure what he was looking for yet, but he knew if this place treated him like that, they'd done worse to others. It didn't take long to find it. A Yelp review from 6 months ago, buried under dozens of 5-star ratings. Our server, tall white blonde, kept referring to my husband as sir in a mocking tone. We're a black couple. I thought I was being paranoid until he brought us the wrong wine, then laughed about it. Manager offered us a dessert. We left, never coming back. Same description. Same game. Jamal clicked the profile. The reviewer was real. A lawyer from Chicago named Danielle. He sent her a short message. Polite, direct, just asking if she'd ever reported the incident. Her response came within an hour. No, I was too tired to fight it. But I'm glad someone is. By noon, he had 3 more stories. One from a Latino couple. Another from a Nigerian tourist. All eerily similar. Same waiter. Same smirk. Different names, same outcome. Jamal had what he needed. Now it was time to go back. 2 nights later, he returned to La Belle Maison. Not to eat, not to argue, but to test something. He didn't wear a suit this time. Just jeans and a jacket. Nothing flashy. He waited outside until a white couple walked in without a reservation. He overheard them say it at the door. The hostess smiled, pulled out a tablet, and gave him a table within seconds. 5 minutes later, Jamal walked up. Good evening, he said smoothly. Is there any availability for one? The same hostess barely glanced up. Sorry, we're full tonight. Jamal tilted his head. That couple just walked in. Her jaw stiffened. They had a standing reservation. A clumsy one. Jamal nodded slowly. Right? Well, I'll leave you my card anyway. He placed it on the counter. Black cardstock. Silver letters. Clean. It read, Jamal Taylor, partner, Lion and Crest Consulting. And on the back, public relations and crisis strategy. Her eyes scanned the card. Her posture changed. Too late. He walked out before she could say anything else. Back in his apartment, Jamal got to work. First, he drafted a detailed complaint to the city's Department of Human Rights. Then he prepared a story for a journalist he knew, someone who owed him a favor from a previous consulting campaign, a woman who loved exposing racism in high places. He sent over the testimonies, including Danielle's, attached the Yelp reviews, named names, described the waiter, the cover-ups, the pattern. It was a powder keg, and now someone was holding a match. The next morning, his phone rang. It was the reporter. This is gold, she said, but we'll need confirmation. Don't worry, Jamal replied. You'll get it. He wasn't bluffing. He had a plan, but he'd need to see Chad again. One last time. And when he did, he wasn't going in alone. Jamal knew how these stories usually ended. A headline might catch fire for a few days. A few people might comment, unbelievable or disgusting, and then it all faded. The waiter would stay. The restaurant would keep serving $80 scallops. And the cycle would continue. He wasn't going to let that happen. The plan had to be airtight. No yelling. No viral meltdown. Just the truth, backed by evidence, presented with precision. That was Jamal's world strategy. Pressure. Control. And now he had all the pieces. But he needed a spark. That came in the form of a friend named Devin. Ex-college roommate. Now a rising YouTube journalist with over 400,000 followers and a specialty for exposing corruption in corporate America. Devin didn't chase gossip. He built stories that stuck. Jamal sent him the file. Everything, the witness accounts, the surveillance timestamps from the security footage Jamal later requested through a legal contact, the wine-soaked suit, even an audio clip he discreetly recorded of Chad smirking and calling him sir under his breath like it was poison. Devin called back within the hour. "Let's go public," he said. "But do it right. We go in, and we film everything." Friday night, 7:30 p.m. La Belle Maison was glowing like a gold-plated dream, dim lights, jazz humming through hidden speakers, and a full house of polished couples clinking glasses. And into that world walked Jamal again, this time with Devin beside him, a hidden mic on his jacket, and a discreet GoPro mounted in the chest pocket of his blazer. They didn't make a scene. They simply asked for a table. The same hostess from before recognized Jamal, her smile faltering mid-sentence. "Actually, we're fully booked." Devin stepped in. "That's funny. Your website says there are 7 available." She hesitated. Eyes darted behind Jamal. "Let me get the manager." Moments later, a tall, nervous-looking man in a burgundy vest approached. He looked more corporate than culinary. His name tag read, Thomas, General Manager. Thomas's smile was brittle. "Gentlemen, I believe there's been some misunderstanding. We're here to speak to Chad," Jamal said calmly. Thomas blinked. "Excuse me?" The waiter. Blonde hair. 6 foot. Bit of an attitude problem. "I believe you're familiar." The silence stretched. "Chad isn't working tonight," Thomas finally said. Devin raised an eyebrow. "So, he still works here?" Thomas hesitated. "That's a confidential." "No," Jamal said firmly. "It's not. Not when he's targeted guests of color. Not when there's a pattern of documented abuse. Not when it's about public safety and discrimination in a licensed establishment." Thomas's lips parted. He looked ready to argue, but something in Jamal's eyes stopped him cold. The same thing that had stopped so many boardroom bullies before. Control. That's when a familiar voice cut through the air. "Well, well, look who came crawling back." Jamal turned slowly. Chad was there, tray in hand, smile twisting across his face like a snake uncoiling. "You finally get over the little wine accident," Chad said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Devin's camera caught every word. Jamal stepped forward. "I didn't come to argue." "Good," Chad said. "'Cause we don't serve people who cause drama." That was it. The moment. Devin stepped aside and revealed the camera. "That's a fascinating comment, Chad. Care to say it again, on record?" Chad froze. His face paled. "What the hell is this?" Jamal leaned in slightly. Not threatening. Not angry. Just deliberate. "This is what accountability looks like." The video dropped the next night. Titled, "Fine Dining, Racist Service, What Happened at La Belle Maison." It went viral within 48 hours. The audio clips. The smirk. The wine-stained suit. The guest testimonies. The manager's weak denials. Chad's parting words. All of it played like a courtroom drama for the internet. Within days, #BoycottLaBelle was trending. The restaurant issued a generic apology. Then a revised one. Then a full-on press statement claiming zero tolerance for discrimination. But it was too late. Jamal wasn't done. The following week, La Belle Maison's parent company lost a major investor. Their Yelp rating dropped 2 full stars. Reservations plummeted. And Chad? He was no longer employed. But just when Jamal thought it was over, when he started to breathe again, he got a letter in the mail. A legal one. A cease and desist. From La Belle Maison's corporate attorneys. They were trying to shut him down.